Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going on a tour of what is, without a doubt, the most complex battlefield on the planet, and it's happening inside your own body. We're going to break down your inner army, the immune system. Okay, let's just get this out of the way first. You need to forget the idea that you're a single, unified person. In reality, you are a walking, talking battlefield. Right now, as you're listening to this, trillions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi are all trying to make a home in and on your body. Now, sure, most are harmless, some are even helpful, but a whole lot of them are potential invaders.
So, who's fighting back against this constant onslaught? Well, that would be your immune system, a ridiculously complex, multi-billion cell army. And what's just mind-blowing is that this entire diverse fighting force, I'm talking frontline grunts, elite special forces, intelligence officers, the whole shebang, it all comes from a single type of master cell, the hemopoietic stem cell. It's basically the ultimate military academy, pumping out every kind of soldier you'll ever need.
So, let's set the scene. An invader has just breached your walls. It got past your skin. An alarm goes off. Who are the first ones on the scene? It's time to meet the first responders, your innate immune system.
Think of these guys as your body's local security force. They're the frontline defense. And here's the key thing. They're not picky. They don't really care what the invader is. If it doesn't have the right security credentials to be in your body, it's treated as hostile. End of story. Their response is immediate, it's brutal, and it's absolutely crucial for holding the line while the big guns get ready. And leading this first wave are the absolute units of the innate system, the macrophages. Seriously, the name literally means big eaters, and that is their entire game plan. They are just relentless eating machines, constantly patrolling your tissues for anything that even looks a little bit suspicious. So how exactly do they, eat? It's through this amazing process called phagocytosis, or cell eating. First, the macrophage latches onto the microbe. Then, it literally extends these arms to wrap around it, pulling it inside into a little bubble. From there, a sack full of digestive enzymes, think of it as a stomach, fuses with that bubble and just dissolves the intruder into a harmless waste, which then gets spit back out. It's an incredibly efficient way to just, neutralize a threat on the spot. But sometimes the invasion is just too big. The local guards, the big eaters, they're getting overwhelmed. So what happens then? Well, it's time to call in the specialists. It's time to activate the adaptive system. And here's where it gets really smart. The innate system doesn't just fight, it gathers intel. See, after a macrophage eats an invader, it doesn't destroy all the evidence. No, it takes a piece of the enemy, a little protein fragment called an antigen, and it wears it on its own surface. It's like taking a trophy to show high command exactly what they're up against. This is where your professional intelligence officers come in, cells like this dendritic cell. Their whole job is to gather this intel. They'll grab that piece of the invader and travel to the nearest command center, which for your body is a lymph node, to deliver a critical briefing. They present this enemy fragment, this antigen, to the elite forces and essentially say, okay, people, this is what the enemy looks like. It's time to mobilize. Now, this briefing wakes up the two main branches of your special forces. First up, you've got the T cells. These are your field generals. They mature in the thymus, which is where the T comes from, and they coordinate the entire attack. Some of them are even trained assassins themselves. And then you have the B cells. They mature in the bone marrow, and you can think of them as mobile weapons factories, just sitting there waiting for the order to start mass production. Okay, the generals are awake, the factories are online. Now the real war begins. And we're talking weapons custom designed for this one specific enemy. So let's take a look at these ultimate weapons, antibodies and assassins. Once that B cell gets the signal, it completely transforms and starts pumping out millions and millions of these incredible Y-shaped proteins called antibodies. And they're exquisitely specific. Each antibody is like a custom-made key that is designed to fit only one lock, that specific antigen from that one invader. And that Y shape? Yeah, that's no accident. It is a perfect weapon. The tips of the Y are the binding sites. They're like molecular grappling hooks, precision engineered for the enemy. Millions of these antibodies flood your system, and they can either physically block a virus from getting into your cells, or they act like homing beacons, tagging invaders for other immune cells to find and destroy. But hang on, there's a catch. Antibodies are amazing, but they're circulating in your blood and other fluids. They can't get inside your cells. So what happens when a virus has already broken in and turned one of your own cells into a zombie factory, churning out more viruses?
Well, this is where the T-cell generals deploy their special ops team, the cytotoxic T-cells. These guys are the assassins. They patrol your body, checking your own cells for any signs of an internal takeover. And when they find a cell that's been compromised, a traitor, they lock on and release proteins that basically order that cell to commit suicide. It's a clean, precise hit, a necessary sacrifice to stop the enemy from spreading any further.
So the invaders are gone, the compromised cells have been eliminated, the war is won. But the immune system is way too smart to just pack up and go home. It knows this enemy may try to come back. So how does it prepare? This is all about not just winning the war, but training the troops for the future.
And this right here is the absolute game changer. Your adaptive immune system has a memory. It's not just about winning one battle, it's about learning from that battle so that the next one is over before it can even really begin. This is what we call immunologic memory.
See, after the infection is cleared, most of those activated T cells and B cells will die off. Their job is done. But a select few, a special forces squad, they stick around. They become long-lived memory cells. These are the veterans of your inner army, and they circulate quietly in your body for years, sometimes an entire lifetime, carrying the memory of the enemy they defeated.
And this principle, this memory, is the genius behind vaccination. It's basically a controlled training exercise for your immune army. And this idea, it's not new at all. Way back in 1796, a guy named Edward Jenner noticed that milkmaids who got a mild disease called cowpox never seemed to get the deadly smallpox virus. He had a theory that the first infection was training their bodies. He tested it, and it worked. He proved the concept of immunity.
So how does a modern vaccine work? Well, it introduces a safe version of a pathogen, maybe a weakened one or just a small piece of one. It's not enough to make you sick, but it's more than enough to trick your immune system into thinking it's a real invasion. The whole adaptive response kicks in. The dendritic cells present the antigen, T and B cells activate, and most importantly, you create a powerful squad of memory cells. So you get the fully trained army without ever having to fight the actual war.
This process, either getting sick or getting vaccinated, creates what we call active immunity. Your body does the work, it learns the enemy, and it builds a lasting memory. This is totally different from what's called passive immunity. That's when you're just given pre-made antibodies, like a baby gets from its mother's milk. Passive immunity is like hiring mercenaries. It's an immediate but very temporary fix because your body never learned how to make the weapons itself. It never built the factories.
So this system is unbelievably powerful. But with that kind of power comes enormous risk. What happens when this finely tuned army, designed to tell the difference between you and not you, gets it wrong? Let's talk about that delicate balance and what happens when the army misfires. Because sometimes things can go very wrong. The immune system can massively overreact to something that's totally harmless, like pollen or peanuts. That's a type 1 hypersensitivity. We just call it an allergy. Or even worse, sometimes the system's recognition completely breaks down and it starts attacking your own healthy cells. That's an autoimmune disease, like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus. It's a terrifying case of friendly fire with devastating consequences. And this really brings us right back to the central idea. Your immune system isn't some static thing you're born with. It's a living, breathing history of every single microbial war you've ever won. So I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. If your immune system is a perfect reflection of every pathogen you've ever defeated, what does your personal army of veterans look like? What stories of survival could it tell?